Oi you, it's time for another episode of Dorothy and the Dealer. Let's tune into the conversation.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What?
Hi guys. How's it going?
Did you like my sing-song hello?
It was lovely. Yeah, you've missed your calling.
I know I have. If I was on the stage, Mike, I would have been better off.
You are on.
Did you get it?
Yeah, very good.
There you go.
It's like a mum joke, isn't it?
It is like, it's like a
Terrible.
dad joke in Millie's body. That's
I was
right.
going to say,
It's
Mills has
terrible.
been picking up on the dad joke culture of MJ.
Ugh, it's so bad.
Too many parents around here.
It's too bad.
Mitch
Hey,
looks
guys,
like
going-
he's got something on his mind actually right now.
No, I
He's
haven't.
like,
I'm
I was-
really. Somebody should probably take that elastic. away
I'm
from me.
wondering.
Or,
I'm wondering if he's trying to figure out if he's exactly like his dad. Like this is the conversation we've just had.
Yeah.
That literally he gets frustrated with his dad, but he's actually the same as him. Yes.
You ever notice that when you wonder if you're like something,
Yeah.
you only focus on the negative parts of that?
Yeah. It's like my wife tells me all of the negative parts of the children are from my side of the family,
Yeah. When really they're all from her side of the family.
when really they're actually all from her side of the family.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, you only condemn another what you're destined to do yourself, isn't that
Correct.
right? So, how's it going,
So
guys?
what do you want to talk about
Well, we
today?
were going to talk about what were we going to talk about, Mike? We were going to talk about doing everything except the right thing in business, right?
Yeah.
And why people do
happens.
that? Why
Yeah.
people
Why
do
did that come up for you today to talk about that?
that? Because I've spent part of the morning on the phone talking to people about, and one girl in particular, she puts so much effort into the wrong thing,
Really?
and it's like you do that because you get the short term acknowledgement for it, but it costs you in the long run because you're not doing what you actually need to do within your business. You know, what's the stuff you're ignoring. You perceive you're going to get the accolades because you're doing these things and you get the praise for that, but that has problems attached to it, and it is that you ignore the things that need to happen. Your day, we talk about being tactical and systemized. Your system says when you go to run your business, there are certain things that you have to do within your business that are shit. You just don't like doing them. And your objective is to be able to ultimately delegate that stuff, so you're doing the things that are high priority that bring you the most amount of income. But you have to earn the right to do that. You have to earn the right. It's like we say with the wealth principles. You got to earn the right to hand the management of your money over to someone else, and never hand the management of your money over to someone else until you've mastered it yourself. Because otherwise, if you do hand it over to someone else and you haven't mastered it yourself, you won't see the pitfalls.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You won't see when they're making mistakes. You still need to be the master, and you're handing that over. Does that make sense?
So then, when you say people are doing everything except the right thing.
Well,
what
I
does that
had a good
even mean?
I had a good example of a guy years ago who had started his own garage, and he always wanted to have his own garage, his own mechanic workshop. And I was watching him do this, and he had gone into partnership with someone else, so he was doing the typical leaning thing. As the thing was failing, he was blaming the partner. And I was like, but what are you doing? And he's like, I'm doing all the paperwork. I have to get all the invoices ready, and I do all the paperwork, and I do all the ordering, and I'm like, but you're the mechanic. And he's like, yeah, I know, but all the paperwork has to be right. And this is, but I'm like, yeah, but you got to still work on the cars. And also, I said, you got to be able to get yourself out there, And he didn't want to get himself out there, and he just didn't want to get himself out there. And I was like, no, that they'll just come, they'll come to us when. And I'm like, but they're not going to come to you if your mechanic ability is not very good, and they're not going to come to you because you're doing paperwork. That's not what they're going to come to you. So he was doing everything except the right thing because he didn't want to lean into the discomfort of doing the things that he needed to do. Like when somebody leaves your car yard, have you got a card that gives them, or do you give them a discount for their next service? Do you ask them, do they have any buddies that have cars that they could send them down? Do you speak to them a week later and say, hey, how's the car going? What are you doing? And he didn't want to do any of that stuff.
Right.
I had a client that was a very similar thing. It was like when I first got started in coaching, and he came in and he said, look, can you come take a look? We've lost some money. Our revenue's going backwards. And so I'm going in, I'm understanding the business, and I work it out, and I go, so what drives this business? Like, what's the marketing? He goes, oh, well, ultimately, he goes, if there's oil projects going on in WA, that drives our business. I said, so what's the mechanism that makes that work? And he goes, oh, I'm the best in Australia at what I do. So it's me. It's 100% me. I went, okay. So what have you been doing in the last 3 months? And he goes, I'm building a website. And I went, why? And he goes, because we need to have a better website. I said, but you drive the business. Wouldn't it make more sense to have somebody else do the website? He goes, since we started going backwards in money, I can't afford to pay somebody to do my website. I'm like, but you're going backwards because you're not doing the thing you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like you're focused on something else.
But don't you see that that's when, you know, they say I'm the best at what I do, but they have no deep, you know, we say all the time, every human being when they turn up here has a deep spiritual quest and has a deep physical quest. So, and if you don't have a connection through your product or service to the spiritual requirement, you know, that of what you, and when people hear the word spiritual, they think, why are you talking about spiritual in business? And spirit is just your energy. That's all it is. There's nothing kooky or spooky. It's just, this is the energy I bring here, and I love the energy that I bring here. And people come for this energy, and this energy is something that people need. So, so don't you find that when people are doing that, one of the reasons that they put themselves in a cupboard is because they don't actually have a deep connection to what it is that they do, and its connection to humanity and why humanity needs it. Because it's like walking into an audience and you say to the audience, okay, as I've done numerous times years ago on Mass Amount of Monies, somebody tell me something that they do, and the person puts their hand up like, I'm a real estate agent. And I'm like, no, dude, you're not a real estate agent. You bring a sense of self to people. You give them something to work towards. You give them shelter. You give them you know, places to school their children. That's what you do. And when you say that to someone and they fucking tear up, they're like, I never thought of it like that. I said, and I'm like, I know, because you have yourself in the category of, I'm a real estate agent, I'm a mechanic. You're not a mechanic. No, you're not a mechanic. What you do is a skill. It's an art. It's something that allows people to be able to safely transport their families around. When they get the connection to it, they're less likely to hide themselves off in a cupboard. And a lot of the time, that's what they're missing. Because if you have a deep connection to what you do and its service to humanity, your whole perspective, you will do anything. What do I need to do to get this out to the world? Do I need to fucking write checks? Do I need to read invoices? Whatever I need, do I need to market? Whatever I need to do, I will do it.
Yeah, look, I'm going to kind of challenge it. A business happens in the kind of mirror between the two, right? When you attach the spiritual value to the economic value. And people do one of two things. They either get too into the economic box they're stuck in,
right,
i.e. the real estate agent that believes he's just a real estate agent, in which case he applies what he knows to the situation, and he thinks all of it in terms of steps, activities, you know, things that he has to do to be a real estate agent. And that's generally not even his own doing, right? That's generally a long line of other real estate agents that have just showed him the way, and he keeps doing those things, even when they're not working. And then you've got the other person that's so in their spiritual value, they don't actually understand how that will economically be viable. And so what they do is they go, if I can just love more and reach more and do this, somehow that's going to result in money. And they're not doing the things that need to be done in the business. They're too in their spiritual value. You got to kind of find the happy medium between the two.
So that sounds like it's like one person is caught in activity and the one person is caught in inactivity.
Yeah, the one person's totally in the spiritual value. If I could just love more and reach more and talk more. And they are getting the return. We've talked about this before. They are getting a return. It's just not economic. A business has to be a blend of the two. And when you can get that, where you really have that overall outcome that comes from your spiritual side, and then you have that knowledge of system that comes from the economic side, then you can kind of humble yourself to really go, what is important here? If I'm too unbalanced, if I'm too in the economic arm, then I just do what I've always done, even if it's not working. And if I'm too in the spiritual realm, then I don't know what to do. I'm looking around going, I don't know what to do. And like, so I'm expecting it'll just come. If I just be me, it'll come. And it doesn't work that way in business either.
No.
So you were saying before about doing everything except the right thing. You said that people can't know everything. They can't. So
no.
What do you mean by that in terms of this concept?
Look, I think what it is you can't possibly know everything about everything. So at some point you got to humble yourself, right? You've got to look back. And I think the big difference is anybody that is, how do I put it? anybody that's getting stuck, whether it be from the spiritual or the economic side, what they're doing is they're activity focused. They're thinking about what they have to do that day as opposed to what they expect to get from those activities. When I'm activity focused, then the common kink to that, the thing that you see more and more, is I'll go, yeah, you got to reach more. I know. I got to send the emails. I got to do this. I got to do that. But they're still talking from what they know. Mm-hmm. And they go, I know, when really they're saying, I actually don't know what to do, but I'm afraid to look bad. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to tell you all the things I think I should know. And then they can't see, and they hide behind the activity going, I'm doing everything it takes. It must be the market.
So they, scapegoat the activity.
Yeah, they're hiding behind it. Right. Whereas if you can train yourself to be more outcome focused, where you're like, okay, this is the result I want, and then it's very clear. I'm either getting that result or I'm not getting that result. And if I'm not getting that result, what do I need to do differently? Who do I need to speak to? Who can help me with this? Who already knows what I got?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. So, excuse me. I'm just trying to hear you clearly, Mike, over the construction noise that we've got going on in the background. It's like we tried to get them to calm their farm a little bit, just for a little bit while we did this, but it didn't happen. So
that's okay. I mean, all we're doing is that we put that music in place because we're drilling down with the clients at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Talk about stupid, bad dad jokes. That's horrible.
No.
That's horrible.
I love that he goes for quantity as opposed to quality. I love that he's just going to take a crack.
Do you know when he's funny? He's funny when he doesn't try to be funny. He made me laugh out loud this morning and it was hilarious. But then he overthinks his next.
I was actually, after I made him laugh, I was in the other room and I was thinking, how can I get back out and make him laugh even more?
That is very much a little boy thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my son does that too. If he gets a laugh, he just will not give up.
He wants to ride it hard out.
Mitch.
Yeah. He's just turned 10, just so we have comparison.
So, just going back then. So, you're talking about outcome and getting clear on the result, right? I was just thinking that sounds very...
Are you talking clear on the result for the client?
The result of what you want. What do you expect this activity is going to give you? So when you're thinking about it, hey, look, when your mechanic friend's sitting there, right? Mm-hmm. And he's going, look, what do I want? Well, I want more clients, right? And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all my book work and these clients will show up. When he gets clear as to what that really looks like, how many more clients would you like? I'd like to have 100 clients. When would you like to have them? I'd like to have 100 clients in the next week, okay? Then he can get to the end of the week, and where he'll be forced to humble himself, he's like, look, my books are smack on amazing. I still don't have 100 clients. I need help. Mm-hmm. Whereas if he's just thinking, I got to get these books done, then every week he's still got that activity to do. He can hide behind it. He never focuses on the outcome.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I see it like... There are certain things in business that people don't want to do. Like, I don't like doing bookwork. I just don't like doing bookwork. But there has to be a part of you that understands that if you're not able to delegate it, well, you got to do. There's certain things you got to do until such a time that you are able to delegate.
Well, that sounds like it's a mix between doing everything except the right thing, and then having to come in and actually do some of the stuff if you need to. So how do you balance that out?
Well, I think that's the thing, right? A leader is either going to hire somebody to do it, bring somebody in to do it, or they're going to do it. But it gets done. That's about leadership. Like when you can recognize that, and if you're focused on results, you'll see that. If you go, look, the reason I'm getting this result is because I'm not getting around the books. Quite honestly, I don't like doing the books. But right now, I can't afford to bring somebody in, and I don't have the time to train somebody to do it.
So you got to do the books.
Yeah.
So the key then to doing everything, to doing the right thing as opposed to everything then, comes down to being clear on the results. And being clear on being able to know what your results are, know what your outcome is, understand and being real about whether you're achieving those results.
So what about those people that don't want to make sales calls?
Well, once again, it's about the result, right? What is the result I want from my business? Mm-hmm. Right? And you go, okay, how can I do it? Now, honestly, do you want to not make sales calls? I haven't found the solution to that yet.
Okay,
I
have a suggestion though.
But you're gonna have to find another way, right? So if you've got a better way, and my suggestion is, if I'm faced with that, going, I know I need to make sales calls, but I don't want to make sales calls, the first thing I'm going to think about is who do I know, what businesses do I know that make a shit ton of money that do not make sales calls?
How do I get the
they do
result
it?
in a different way?
How do I get that? Because I still want the result. I can't just go, I don't want to do the activity that leads to that result, so I'm just going to hope the result comes anyway. Like, that's lunacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I think again though that when you have a connection to what the outcome is for the client and why it is you love this so much, you will do anything. Do you know what I mean? And I think that when it comes to sales calls, you know, the reason we have cold calls and warm calls is trying to find ways to warm things up is always a really quite a magical way to be able to make sure you're warm calling is way better than cold calling. And there's so many methods and ways to do that nowadays. Like, it's just, there's a
I was going to say, is there even such a thing as a cold call anymore?
Yeah, probably. That's a good point. I'm just thinking back to when I first started out, you know?
Cold calls in the day, right? Back when, and I'm old enough to remember, where you pull out the like business directory and you just like start ringing, right? And you're calling up, and they might not have ever heard of you. Yeah. But most people right now, they're calling from a list that's been generated from you know, social media or some sort of marketing activity at some point. There's been some sort of touch point.
Yeah.
And so one of the things you'll see salespeople do is they'll cop out and go, "Oh, list cold." I'm like, I can't remember the last time I actually saw a cold list where somebody literally went, "Yeah, we pulled it." Like, I don't even think you can do it anymore with the do not call list. You can't just pull it the yellow pages and start ringing anymore. Yeah. It's got to be washed in some way.
Yellow pages.
Yeah, I've aged myself, but like, I can remember doing that.
Have you done that?
Yeah, I have so done that. Where you just pick up like a business directory or
let's go to the C's.
Yeah, and it's just like, we're gonna everybody else is gonna be starting with A's today. I'm gonna start at Z.
Yeah,
right. Work backwards. Yeah, because I'll be the only one calling them.
Yeah,
I remember the days where the database, if your name was like, you know, 𝘂𝘱𝗶, you were like, you got called for friggin' everything. And if your name was Zahir, you're like, never got called.
I never get those calls.
So let's summarize then before we finish up. So, how do you know how do you know what the right thing is? If it's getting you the results, is that right?
Yeah, if you're getting the result, then you're doing the right thing. If you're not getting the result, you're not doing the right thing. So you got to humble yourself and go answer that question.
So when you say humble yourself, you mean just getting real, getting really real about the outcome, about the result, about what you're doing, and if it's actually going to get you there. Yeah,
just to be clear, we all have an ego inside of us that doesn't want to look bad in those moments.
Yeah.
And so what we naturally try to do is go, no, I got this.
So you've got to be honest.
Humbling yourself is just being honest and going, actually, I haven't got this because I'm not getting the result.
Yeah. And then because you know you can't do it all, it's about knowing how to delegate to somebody else and when to delegate to somebody else or something else, or finding another way to get you that outcome.
Well, that's it, right? As a leader, your job is to get the result, period.
Right.
Now, you can hire somebody, you can train somebody, you can bring in somebody, you can do it yourself, but you got to get the result at the end of the day.
So would you say that a lot of the people that are going around in circles, it's because they're doing this, because they're doing everything, not the right thing?
Absolutely.
They're just getting swamped into...
They're either doing everything or what they've always done, and it's no longer getting the result it used to.
Right. So the result... And so therefore you've got to get clear about what the actual result is,
100%.
What the outcome is, because if you're not clear on that, and a lot of people really aren't, they're not really clear on that. And if they're not clear on that, then it doesn't matter what they're doing because they can't measure it off. So they don't know if they're moving towards something because they don't know what they're moving towards. They're not clear.
Can I give a tip that might actually help everybody here right now? Just a quick tip. I write out my outcomes at the beginning of the week. We all do this as part of NJB, where we go, here's the outcomes I want. And let's say I've got 3 outcomes. In my schedule, I color code the activities that'll give me each of the outcomes. And so what I'll do is I'll study my calendar at the end of the week. And let's say I go, hey, I've got a sales outcome this week. And I'll look at everything I do in my week, and everything that results in sales or has the potential in sales or increasing income will be, say, purple. And then what I'll do is I'll look at my calendar and go, man, how much purple do I have? And I study it to get that outcome. If I see no purple in there, I'm immediately going, right, who do I need to bring in? Where do I need to delegate? What do I need to do? What do I need to shift to get that outcome? You know, if I see all my activities, say gray administration activities, and really what I need is sales, I have a very visual way of going right away, like, Mike, humble yourself. You're spending a shit ton of time doing stuff that's not going to give you what the business needs right now.
Right.
Yep, that makes sense. That's good. So do the right thing. How do you change that statement? Don't do everything, do the right thing. Do the right thing, don't do it. People do everything except the right thing. There you go.
All right.
I like it. I like it a lot. We need a beer now. Beers and business.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Okay, if you're looking to bulletproof your business, here at MJB Seminars, we have the tools and strategies to supercharge your profits and stop you from becoming one of the 97% of organisations that fail within their first 10 years.
So you can learn more about this truly unique system by liking and following us at MJB Seminars over on Instagram and Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to Dorothy and the Dealer podcast so you never miss a business episode again.
Registrations for our business course are by application, and you can express your interest by emailing evolve, EVOLVE, at mjbseminars.com.au.